Okay, guys, I just want to talk to you guys briefly about Fantasea 2 and just how long of a journey it has been to get to this place where I finally feel confident just culminating this album and letting it loose. I think a lot of you guys think that my mermaidism is a form of cosplay when it's really actually a very, very deep spiritual thing that means a lot to me. As a child of Yemaya, Yemaya is a West African deity. She's an Orisha. She is the mother of all the fishes and the mother of the Orishas, and she's my mother. And it's something that has been very close to me since childhood. When I was a little girl, I was obsessed with The Little Mermaid and just obsessed with mermaids. And, my mom would take me with her to the Botanica, and I would always stare at this like blue candle, this Virgin of Regla candle, and I would always be so infatuated by this candle. And my mom would, pick out Chango Macho and Santa Mata la Dominadora. So I'm also, and Saint Michael, and I'm also very familiar with those saints too. But Virgin of Regla just always stood out to me. And once I started making music, I really started to realize that this was the force behind a lot of my music. Now, over the years, I have tried to share these things with you. And I've been made fun of. I've been called a chicken killer. I've been called cat soup. I've been called a nutcase. I've been called all these different things. But I really just want to explain to you how important these traditions are to me and to my life, and how much peace they bring me. And to have been penalized throughout the years, or just kind of made fun of for sacrificing animals, or just the traditional parts of the religion, has been really kind of hurtful in a way. And there were lots of times where I felt like scared, but I also had this tenacity and this great, 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 great belief in my goddess, and this great belief in this force that was guiding me through life. It's more than just the mermaid cosplay. It's not just a blue lipstick and a Swarovski crystal mermaid crown. There are lots of mysteries and lots of things that go into my devotion to Yemaya. And in true Azealia Banks fashion, I've never wanted to treat my goddess as if she were a fashion statement, or as if she were something to kind of make me look deeper or seem deeper than I was. Because it's a lifestyle. It's not a fashionable thing. Sure, sea punk is cool, but the only reason I was so obsessed with sea punk was because I felt like it was a more palatable way to explain or convey these very deep African cosmology concepts to the public. And you all know that I have been working very fucking hard on Fantasea 2 for a lot of years. Lots of songs got cut, lots of songs made it out, and I like to think that is just Yamaya telling me, like, no, this is not what I want. This is not what I want. I want this one. I want this one. I want this one. There's nothing demonic about this. There's nothing demonic about this. It's all very beautiful tradition. And in the era of Black Lives Matter, I think that it's important to open the conversation up to the other aspects of Black livelihood other than just, police brutality, because we are, again, this isn't some sort of mermaid cosplay. This is a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle. And, you can make fun of animal sacrifice as much as you want. And we can make fun of, whatever we want. But this is really who I am. And I just hope that this go round, you will accept that and accept these parts of spirituality, my spirituality, our spirituality, African traditional spirituality, into mainstream consciousness. My Orisha Yamaya, actually, there's a Pataki of her and Erinle. Erinle was Yamaya's gay lover, and she loved Erinle, but she had to cut out his tongue in case he ever told her secrets. I'm very much like Yamaya in that way. And I want to apologize to the trans community and the gay community for, in my own defense, having offended a lot of people that really fucking love me. Because if anyone loves the children, loves people, understands consciousness the way Yamaya does, it's me. Yamaya is also a very fierce defender of her children and a very fierce defender of herself. And, sometimes when you're on the internet and you have just ignorant people, the same people who say Black Lives Matter seemingly only when they're dead, they don't have that same kind of sympathy or desire to understand Black lives and Black livelihood while it's alive, while we are alive. Things can get really tense, and I really want to apologize from the depths of my heart for anyone who has gotten a snippet of, something that I might have said that may have been taken out of context, or something that I may have just ineloquently said, and really just hurt a lot of people's feelings over the years. Lord knows that I'm not a fucking homophobe. I know that I'm not a homophobe. I know that I'm not transphobic. But, sometimes in making the point of defending myself, in defending what I believe in, I've made comparisons to, things that were once seemingly taboo. And maybe those comparisons were wrong. Maybe in my mind those comparisons were right, and they just didn't read well. I don't want to blame, it's not the trans community's fault that no one understands, my spirituality or what I go through and how deep this is, and really how fucking deep it is. I think that for a very long time, there was a part of me that felt like it was definitely a racial thing, in terms of the animal sacrifice, when it's really just meat that is ritualistically blessed before you consume it. The same way a Christian family would say prayers over their food before they eat. The same way a rabbi would ritualistically bless the chicken before he kills it and makes it kosher. The same way the goat was ritualistically blessed before it was killed and called halal. I felt like there was just not that same, like that same energy and understanding was just not being afforded to, practitioners of African traditional religions. And to be called demonic in what I do and in my lifestyle when, there are entire shows about white people just hunting animals for no fucking reason. Like elephants getting killed and giraffes getting killed and deers getting killed just for sport, not for any reason, not for consumption, not for, livelihood. I just felt really isolated and really attacked. I felt really misunderstood, and I felt like no one actually took the time to even try to understand or try to have a conversation with me about how deep this is and how amazing and beautiful of a culture this is, and especially in the midst of movements like Black Lives Matter and things like that. I always felt like I was left out. And these are things that really fuel my creativity and, just the desire to want to share and want it to be embraced has, and being in a position where literally no one wanted to hear about it. Everyone's eating burgers, everyone's eating McDonald's, everyone's eating chicken nuggets, and no one knows where their food is coming from. It kind of made me really bitter. It made me really bitter about everyone else who was seemingly getting, the platform to explain themselves and talk about themselves and talk about the things that make them go. And I wasn't, just because I felt for a very long time that because I wasn't talking about something sexual, I was talking about something of the mind, it was just being completely ignored. So this go round with Fantasy 2, I want to teach you guys about me and Yamaya and my practice and what Yamaya means to me and how I find peace. Because I know you see a lot of chaos in Azealia Banks and in her world. I want to speak to you guys about the things that bring me peace and the things that bring me happiness, and not be misunderstood and not have to have my message filtered to you through some clickbaity publication that kind of thrives on racism. Because Azealia Banks is more than just a kitschy gay cultural pop icon from which you can get slogans and sayings and, you know, divulge in her anger and make pop cultural moments out of it. I'm actually a human being. I'm actually a very sweet human being. And I'm actually very spiritual. And I would like for Fantasy 2 to be a very in-depth journey of elevation and not just mermaid cosplay.